Hello everyone, I'm Aryan Gautam and I'm a Bee City ambassador. I would like to thank you for welcoming us into your classroom to teach kids all about bees and pollinators. Thank you for your interest in planting flowers and other plants for pollinators. This is a guide for how to plant flowers and ensure that pollinators are getting the food they need. Let's get right into it. Just as a reminder to your presentation, I want to remind you about the importance of flowers. Flowers are very important for pollination, which is needed for plants to reproduce and create seeds. So, what does a bee actually do with flowers?
Bright colors and strong fragrances of flowers attract insects. Once lured to the flowers, insects discover pollen and nectar. Bees, butterflies, and other insects gather pollen and nectar to feed themselves and their young. As insects move from plant to plant, they transfer pollen from one flower to the next. Fertilization occurs and seeds are formed.
And that's pollination. So let's get into a little bit more about planting flowers that pollinators love. So now that we know that planting flowers are one of the best ways to help native pollinators and also keep your home or school looking beautiful, let's go through some important tips for pollinator planting. Always ensure that the plants you plant are non-invasive in your region. This means that native species of plants are preferred and they will help any surrounding plants, trees, or flowers. More resources can be found to ensure that you are planting your flowers in the right place by using some of the resources in the description or on websites provided in the description. Avoid hybrids. There are many hybrid versions of wildflowers such as double flowers or a mix of several species. These should be avoided for the best results when it comes to feeding pollinators. Additionally, you can plant a variety of different kinds of flowers. Ensure that you provide many different types so that pollinators can have a variety of tastes. And also eliminate the use of pesticides in your garden. As you saw in your presentation, pesticides and other chemicals are not good for pollinators, and they can be harmful, so try your best to avoid them. You might notice that in an area here, like Niagara, with the falls behind me, there's a lot of moisture in the air. And thus, it's very important to plant more flowers in an area with moisture to help pollinators, just like these ones over here. In fact, I found so many flowers in Niagara that many of the videos you saw here today were from Niagara. There's so many flowers there. So now let's get into the flowers themselves. So when planting flowers, it's important to remember what attracts pollinators. Pollinators love showy petals and sepals with lots of shapes, colors, and sizes, and especially colors. All of this signals more nectar, which is attractive to many pollinators. So regarding the flowers themselves, pollinators love perennials or perennial plants. Perennial plants regrow every spring, while annual plants live for only one growing season and then die off. So, there are many different types of perennials. Let's go through a few of them. Some very popular perennials across North America include agastache, ami, bergamot, borage, chives, and cucumber. Pollinators love them. However, based on your area, pollinators might like different perennials. So please use the resources provided within the description of this video to distinguish what flowers and perennials are best for the pollinators in your area. So now that we know perennials are the best flower for pollinators, when can we plant perennials? Well, most perennials can be planted anytime from the last winter frost through autumn. So that is usually spring and fall. Now these seasons will help your perennials grow healthy and strong. And you'll also have warmer soil, lots of rainfall, and longer days with more sunlight. So where can you plant perennials? Well, most people like to put their perennial gardens against a backdrop like fences and garden walls. It's important to pick a spot that provides at least 6 hours a day of sunlight for your perennials. So you can even count what areas of your house or school get sunlight, and you can plant your perennials based on that. Now let's get into how to plant your perennials.
Ready to plant some new perennials? First, set the new pots where you'd like them and water everything to make the transition easier. The next day, come back and be ready to plant. Mark the spot where you'll be digging the hole, then with a small spade, dig a hole that's the same depth as the pot you're planting and twice as wide. If they're planted too deeply, roots could rot, and if they're planted too shallowly, they'll dry out. You can check the depth as you go. Once you have the hole dug, loosen the root ball to encourage roots to grow out into the soil instead of staying in a tight ball. Then set the plant in the hole. Add soil around the plant, filling the hole around halfway. Then water to settle the soil and prevent air pockets from forming. Finally, finish filling around the plant with soil, press it in firmly, and water again. Make it easy on yourself by adding a couple inches of mulch around newly planted perennials. It'll prevent weeds and help keep the soil moist longer. Just keep the mulch a few inches away from the plant's crown to give it some breathing room.
That is a simple guide on how you can plant perennials. Congratulations! You now know exactly how, what, when, and where to plant flowers for pollinators. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I really appreciate your desire to help pollinators. Thank you, and have a great day.